The Canadian wilderness stretched endlessly, a sea of towering pines and winding trails that felt both inviting and ominous. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of damp earth and pine needles. Alex, Jordan, and Tyler had been planning this trip for months. An epic weekend of mountain biking through the dense forests of British Columbia. They wanted an adventure, something to break the monotony of city life. They had no idea how much adventure they were about to get. The first day had been perfect. The trails were challenging but exhilarating, and by evening, they had set up camp beside a pristine lake, laughing and roasting marshmallows over a fire. The next morning, they packed up and rode deeper into the woods, eager to explore new paths. The further they went, the more isolated they felt. The trails became rougher, the trees thicker, and the sunlight struggled to reach the forest floor. Then they heard it. A deep, guttural growl, so low it rumbled through the ground beneath them. They stopped, exchanging uneasy glances. "Did you hear that?" Jordan asked, wiping sweat from his brow. "Probably just an animal," Tyler said, though his voice lacked conviction. "A deer, maybe." Alex shook his head. That wasn't a deer. That was something bigger. They decided to keep moving, pedaling faster, hoping to put distance between themselves and whatever was lurking in the woods. But the feeling of being watched never left them. Every rustling leaf, every snapping twig made their nerves tighten. Then, just as they rounded a bend, Jordan, who was in the lead, let out a sharp cry and slammed on his brakes. Alex and Tyler barely avoided crashing into him. Standing in the middle of the path was a massive grizzly bear. Its fur was matted with dirt, its eyes dark and unblinking. A scar ran down the side of its snout, a testament to past battles. It exhaled heavily, its breath visible in the cool air. Time seemed to freeze. "Nobody move," Alex whispered. "Don't run." But Tyler panicked. He turned his bike sharply, his foot slipping on the pedal. The sudden movement triggered the bear's instincts. With a roar that shook the trees, it charged. "Go!" Alex screamed, kicking off as fast as he could. They raced down the narrow trail, their bikes bouncing over rocks and roots. Behind them, the bear was a force of nature, crashing through the underbrush like a freight train. It was faster than they ever could have imagined, closing the gap with terrifying speed. Jordan veered left onto a downhill path, the others following. The steep descent made it impossible to slow down, but it was their only chance. Tyler was just ahead of Alex when his front tire caught a hidden root. He was thrown over the handlebars, landing with a sickening thud against a tree. "Tyler!" Alex shouted, skidding to a stop. The bear was almost on them. Jordan turned back, his face pale. "We have to help him." Tyler groaned, trying to sit up, but his leg was bent at an unnatural angle. The bear barreled closer, and Alex knew they had seconds to act. He grabbed a thick branch from the ground and hurled it with all his strength. It struck the bear's shoulder, not enough to hurt, but enough to distract. "Over here, you bastard!" he yelled. The bear reared up on its hind legs, roaring in fury. Then, to their horror, it dropped back down and charged again. "We have to carry him!" Jordan said, hoisting Tyler's arm over his shoulder. Alex grabbed the other side, and together they stumbled forward, dragging their injured friend as fast as they could. They spotted a fallen tree ahead, its hollow trunk just big enough to crawl into. With one last desperate effort, they shoved Tyler inside, then scrambled in after him. The bear reached them moments later. It clawed at the entrance, massive paws swiping at the opening. The scent of its breath filled the cramped space. It knew they were there. For what felt like eternity, it tried to dig them out, growling and snorting. The boys pressed themselves against the back of the hollow log, barely breathing. The bear roared again, slamming its weight against the trunk, but the wood held. Then, suddenly, there was silence. They waited. Minutes passed. Finally, Jordan peeked outside. The bear was gone. "Is it over?" Tyler whispered. Alex exhaled shakily. "I don't know, but we have to get out of here." They emerged, muscles trembling. Tyler could barely stand, but they helped him onto Jordan's bike, using it as a crutch. Moving as quickly and quietly as they could, they left the area, their ears straining for any sign of the beast's return. By the time they reached a ranger station hours later, they were exhausted, bleeding, and covered in dirt, but alive. As they told their story, the ranger listened grimly. "You're lucky," he said finally. "That bear, we've had reports about it before. It's different, more aggressive than the others. Some say it's been shot at, wounded, and now it hates humans." Jordan swallowed. "Will it come after someone else?" The ranger sighed. "Bears don't usually hold grudges, but this one, I wouldn't be so sure." As they drove away, leaving the wilderness behind, Alex glanced back at the darkened trees. Somewhere out there, the beast was still watching, and it was still hungry.